Hello, and welcome to another YouTube special segment of Sports NextDoor. My name is Max, and today I'll be talking about Felix Auger-Aliassime's match against Nick Kyrgios in the third round of Wimbledon that unfortunately saw Kyrgios retire due to injury after the second set. Myself, a Canadian, came in ready to cheer for Auger-Aliassime, and I have to say I got treated to the Nick Kyrgios show. While it lasted, especially in the first set, it was some really entertaining, fun tennis to watch. From the get-go, he put the pressure on Felix, making his service games look effortless and breaking two of Felix's first three service games. A bit of that, definitely the mental pressure, Felix not quite in his comfort zone, having a double fault, missing like a fairly easy put away backhand while he was at the net that should have just been down the line. And then the next point, he in like a back and forth, hard ripping forehands, he was long by a mile. Kyrgios making his service games look easy, while then Felix would go and have to really fight on his service games. That was how the match started. As it went on, there was this effect where as Felix came more into his game, you saw Nick stumbling a little. You couldn't tell if that was the injury taking effect or a bit of both, just a complete momentum counterweight, the teeter-totter moving, so to speak. The style of play that Kyrgios brings that puts the mental pressure on was so evident, though, throughout the match, looking for those underhand serves. My personal favorite was probably the point he lost, but Felix running back puts it between his legs, and then Kyrgios standing at the line all the time in the world for a forehand and tries to put the racket between his legs while standing forwards facing the net the whole time. Hits, but he was just having so much fun. And I think the point most evident where it's in Felix's head a little was in the first set early. Felix looked to be building some momentum after those two breaks, went up 40-15, had his serve, thought he had an ace. The linesman called it in, or the linesman called it in. Umpire doesn't overturn. Nick calls a challenge. The overturn actually shows that it's long by a decent chunk relative to missed calls by linesmen, and Kyrgios just bantering, having a pop with the crowd, and Felix goes double faults, and it ends up going into a deuce, which Kyrgios then takes over, riding that momentum from the crowd. Felix a little in his own head, and Felix just shot like in the corner so hard. Felix tries to run to the net, and Kyrgios like whipping it down the line. That was the Nick Kyrgios show. Amazing hard tennis, off an awesome serve, fancy, willing to give away points because he's confident that he can get them back. And the most important thing is the mental game, which it's true for Djokovic, it's true for Nadal, that their biggest strength, I think, is their confidence, self-belief, mental. And it's such a stoic, graceful form that we see them returning to, sometimes giving themselves maybe wolf energy for Djokovic or just a verbal slap in the face. But we think of that mental fortitude and confidence that puts them in their top form in a very specific way. And I think Kyrgios has the ability to reach that same state in such a very different way. But for the rest, I want to talk about Felix because I think it was a bit of a chicken and egg thing where as Felix started playing better, Kyrgios had to pull out more, and that brought the injury worse. In the second set, Felix really started clicking. First service game, the first game of the set, the forehand was going, the rally points, he was finally looking in rhythm and getting the advantage, and he had a couple aces, took that one 45 love. Kyrgios still in Felix's head a little, maybe. He had that was probably the last game of the match where he had solid serving, but got at a game point, looked for an underhanded serve, didn't get it, but set up a rally where Felix missed a relatively straightforward volley by a lot. That's when it really took over for Felix. You saw Nick grimacing on pretty well every point. And when he planted his feet, he was still able to get the forehands and backhands to go where he wanted with some good skip. But on his service games, without the serve to set it up in those 50-50 rallies, just nothing coming as easy. And you really saw Felix come into his own then. That's when he started to consistently hit his own winners, make Kyrgios move, maybe some confidence that, hey, if I can just get this guy's feet moving, he's injured, that's when it's going to really start clicking for me. And then towards the end of the set, it seemed like a foregone conclusion that Kyrgios was going to have to retire, which thankfully he did, because he's so fun to watch. You don't want to see him play himself to the point of being much more severely injured than he needed to be. So hopefully it's nothing too severe. Hopefully maybe this is a bit of a wake-up call that, hey, I can't just stay off tour and live the good life and then just step in and play whatever 5 games with the doubles he played with Venus in there over 6 days and expect my body to hold up, especially such a bulky guy. This guy definitely looks like he played some rugby in his time, or maybe that's what he was doing during quarantine. But Felix Auger-Aliassime going into the 4th round at Wimbledon, looking to face the winner of Zverev Fritz, which is going on as I record this. That'll be a fantastic matchup either way. It's a great time for Canadian tennis, and count me in on the Nick Kyrgios show. Looking forward to seeing more great tennis from both players. I think while this match lasted, it did live up to the hype.